Hello and welcome to Using AI to Create Inclusive Learning Spaces. My name is Tammy Lind and I will be your tour guide for the next 30 minutes or so. I am an instructional coach in the southeastern part of Wisconsin. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And the most important part of this slide is this part right here, the Google Educator Group. I highly recommend, if you are not a member of a Google Educator Group, that you take a look at joining one in your area of the world. You are welcome to join mine. There are some Wisconsin-specific ideas, but in general, there's just a lot of talk about being googly and using Google resources in the classroom. So if you're interested in that, I highly recommend doing that. I am a former special education teacher, which is really where I started to become very passionate about making sure that our learning spaces are inclusive of all students. And so with that, I want to give a little bit of an overview of what we're going to do together. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. And then we're going to switch and we're going to talk about AI use in the classroom. And as we're going through the AI part of this, I will be referencing UDL and making reference to both UDL and differentiation, which are two very different things. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go on. So let's think about universal design for learning. Why do we need to have this in our minds as we're working with students on a daily basis? As you look at this image, it really is a really good, quick way to understand the idea of universal design for learning. So here we have students waiting to get into a school building, and we have somebody shoveling off the steps when there is a ramp. And they're saying, hey, we want to come into the building. Could you shovel the ramp? And the person shoveling says, sure, I'll do that after I do the steps. And so it really shows the idea of when we universally design our classroom experiences, we are really designing for all students. And the thing that I think really gets me excited about using UDL, and I'm just going to move my picture up here, is the idea of necessary for some, beneficial for all. And that's a very, very important concept when you're thinking about universal design for learning. And I like to use Target as my example. It isn't the idea of the $100 that comes out of the wallet automatically when you walk into a Target store. It is the idea of when you walk in and the doors open, or when you pull up and it's got the cutout so that people can get in and out easily for the store. For some, that is an absolute necessity to get into the store. But for those of us that might have our hands full because we just spent the $100 at Target, that is very beneficial. There are ideas that when we design for everyone in mind, we bring in opportunity for all of our students. And that's really where I'm so excited about the concept of universal design for learning in that manner. And one of the most important things that I think really hit me when our new federal educational technology plan was released, the ideas of closing the digital access divide, the design divide, and bringing in everyone into the learning experience. And I love the work of Katie Novak. And one of the things that she pointed out is in our educational technology, our federal educational technology plan, universal design for learning is mentioned on 74 of 113 pages. Our federal educational technology leaders recognize that in order to close these divides, we have got to start universally designing experiences for all learners. And that, I think, is such a big win for our kids. Now, when you think about UDL, there's really three principles of UDL. You want to think about creating flexible ways to present what we learn and teach. So we'll get to that in a second. Flexible options for how we learn and how we express our learning. And then flexible options for generating and sustaining motivation. Those are the three foundational principles of UDL. And those are the things, the what, the how, and the why of learning. If you haven't visited the CAST website, I really recommend taking a look in that. And that's what this is right here. CAST is the organization that created Universal Design for Learning. And they are the leaders, and they just had their 40th birthday. They are the leaders in Universal Design for Learning. So if you want to really dig deeper into this after this particular session, I recommend that you come to the CAST website and go into their online tools. And we're actually going to talk about one of their tools in just a second. But there are so many resources for you here. Please dig into these to really start to shift your mindset, because UDL is a mindset. It isn't a thing. It is a mindset of teaching and learning. And so take a look at the CAST website, and you're going to see this representation of the principles. We are providing multiple means of engagement, multiple means of representation, and multiple means of action and expression. So let's just look at each of those very quickly. Multiple means of engagement is really how we are working with our students to self-regulate as they start to access our content. We are really working with students on choice and autonomy in how they are accessing what we're doing and the why of learning. We're looking for learners that are purposeful and motivated. Providing multiple means of representation is really how we are teaching our students. How are we approaching the learning opportunities for kids? Are we providing for all students? Are we providing different ways for them to listen to the content? Is it just lecture? Or are we providing recordings? Are we providing text? Are we offering support with some of our visual displays? That's the multiple means of representation. And then the third one is multiple means of action and expression. And this really is how our students are demonstrating learning. Maybe it is a test. Most likely, most students will choose ways that they can demonstrate their learning. And it's up to us in a universally designed learning environment to allow students that choice and that freedom of expression as they're showing us what they know. They know what they need to show us and how they need to show us. And we need to give them the time and the space to do that. We want our students that are strategic and goal-directed. That's our goal in a universally designed learning opportunity. So those are the three principles that you have to just keep coming back to as you're designing learning experience, whether it's with AI or not with AI. That's what we need to be cognizant of as we're designing experiences. As we think about the use of universal design for learning, it's really important that we think about the ideas of UDL and not just differentiation. I think we make a mistake when we work with AI and we think that AI is a great way to adjust content with kids. Absolutely it is. That is differentiation. That is, we have a learning topic, we are presenting the learning topic, and based on student need, we're making adjustments. When we universally design an activity, we are starting with activities that all students can access. So hopefully we see the difference. UDL is really that proactive approach to teaching and learning environment. And differentiation is that reactive, I'm going to adjust content just to get it right where our students need it. Both are very, very important. But it's very important to understand the difference between them. And so we're going to look at generative AI. When I talk about AI, you probably have heard about generative AI. Pre-generative AI has been around a long time. Google Maps, Siri, Alexa, the Amazon Echo, all of those things were pre-generative AI. Those were pre-programmed artificial intelligence based on one set of data. The difference with now moving into generative AI, and when I refer to AI moving forward, I'm speaking of generative AI. They are also trained on massive, huge amounts of data. And what's happening is It is recognizing patterns and relationships. And it's also generating new content. That's the difference. Pre-generative AI, pre-November 30th of 2022. I apologize for that. Pre-chat GPT, AI was on a preset amount of data. The big change with chat GPT is that now, as it's looking for those patterns and that data, it's starting to generate new, original, sometimes creative output. And then that's becoming part of the data that it's using. And so that's the difference. From this point forward, I will be talking about generative AI. So the first resource that I want to get into is called Perplexity. And the best way that I think of Perplexity as a Google search and generative AI together. And so from this point to the end of our time together, we're going to spend a little bit of time in the slideshow, and then we're going to get in and do some hands-on learning. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Perplexity here. This is what the homepage looks like. And you'll see if you use ChatGPT, it looks very much like ChatGPT. There's not much difference just in how it looks. So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and we'll put our topic in here. So I'm going to say, help me plan a student-centered unit on, we'll say, ancient Egypt for 6th grade students. And so you'll notice this is very chat GPT-like in that it's showing us as it's generating the new knowledge. And what's going to happen is it will also generate some sort of Google search-ish looking things over here, okay? And so what I like about this is it will search imagery that we can use in our unit. It will also search videos that we can use in our unit. But then in addition to that, it will generate new images if we need to do that. And so we have generative AI and a sort of a Google search along with it. I really like the idea of designing from the ground up using Perplexity. And you can see, let's just take a look at what we get here. So we've got our unit overview. You'll notice it did provide us with our essential questions, the goals for our unit, and then it walks us through each week that we're going to learn. Now here is where we would universally design for all students. So I might say, add a choice board for end of unit. So that now I'm starting to build in that student choice as I'm coming to the end of our learning. So here's a pyramid builder, a mummy maker. You can see it's building this choice board for me so that I can begin to, as I begin the unit, have it universally designed. Now, if we're thinking about differentiation, what I might do is say, create some readings for a student at a 4th grade reading level. So now I'm adjusting it as I can go in order to make sure that all students have access to the leveled text that they might need. And you can see it's going to write that for me. I really like Perplexity, and it's getting better and better and better. I use the free version. I don't use Perplexity Pro, but it's getting better and better. Every time I come into it, I feel like there's something new and more powerful to it. And you'll see I can start to build a collection. So I might build a social studies collection or a science collection or ELA. But that's really how Perplexity works. And in the idea of using it for UDL, we're going to start with building the unit universally designed for all students. Now, the next resource that I want to share with you is called Diffit. And if you haven't used Diffit, please take a look. It is amazing. And it is a powerful, powerful resource for designing initial learning experiences and differentiating content as you're working with students. So let's go ahead. We're back in the slide deck. I'm going to take you back to Diffit now. And this is what the homepage looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say medieval Europe. We'll put that in. I have this pre-done already. And I'll say nonfiction. But here is, let me move this up to 7th grade. There we go. Here is a new part of Diffit, and that is I can select the standards that I want to use. So as I mentioned, I'm from Wisconsin. This is 7th grade. And now I can go through the list of these standards and select which ones I want to make sure that my resources address. So I might just pick, let's see, multiple perspectives. I would like to pick that. I would like to compare events from ancient times to now. And then I'm going to hit the standard. So here it is. It's listed here for us. I have 7th grade. I have English, just so you can see the different languages. And I'm going to hit generate resources. Now, while it's doing that, it's important to understand that what's happening is we are going to get a summary just for Diffit. So we're going to get some content that we can use with students. We're going to get some assessment materials that we can use. But then we're also going to... Okay, so you can see what we got back here. And we have our medieval Europe standard, which is here. It gives us pre-made images if we'd like to use them. And then look what we get as we go through. And I love this. We get an adapted reading passage. We can adjust this if we want to, but we can also show the sources. And one of the most common things that I hear when I think about AI is that we aren't showing our sources, or we aren't letting kids know where the information's coming from. I think this is so important. And if you look down here, this is where the information on this particular passage came from. Now, if we keep going, we've got a summary here. Again, editable if we want to. And then this is really great as a classroom activity. We have different just baseline vocabulary words. We can add more vocabulary words if we would like. I'll just say pull keywords from the text and we'll add 3 more. Or we can add in our own. We can edit this. So if we have some that may specifically target what we're talking about at a certain time, we can add those as well. And you can see here are our new ones down at the bottom. Diffit also generates assessment questions that you can use. Most of them are multiple choice, short answer, or these are the best part down at the bottom, open-ended prompts. And this is where we start to get our students really involved in the learning. We're asking them to compare and contrast. We're asking them to really personalize. Think about a time when you experienced a shift or change. And then here's some more magic from Diffit. And that is the student opportunities or activities. So over here, I have some that are already sort of pre-pulled for me. But just in the interest of our working, I'm going to go ahead. I want to get all of the student activities so that you can see them. And this is what we have. These activities are made in either Google Forms, Google Docs, PowerPoint, or PDF. Whatever format you need, you can get that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose the vocabulary practice. And if you look here, I get it in a slideshow, I get it in a PowerPoint, or as a PDF. And this is a drag and drop activity. So I'm going to click here and go back. Oops, there we go. One of the things that I really like is the opportunity to build graphic organizers right within Diffit, which I think is so powerful for our kids. Here's the reading with discussion questions. So now if we happen to be working with students on close reading, we can assign this through Google Classroom if we want to. There are so many different things that we can do for our students using these particular activities. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say get activity. And what it's going to do is it's going to take all of the information that I already worked with in Diffit, and it's going to build, sorry about that, it's going to build that particular graphic organizing activity that I can use. Now, what I love about this is it's not pre-done. And what I mean by that is I can change it. So I can take what they generated, add my little touch to it, and then assign it if I want to. So we have it in slides. We can share it directly to Google Classroom, a PDF, or a PowerPoint. So I'll go ahead and just open it in slides. And what we get is just a quick overview of the particular activity. And then here are our options that we have. I think this is so powerful for our kids. To talk about differentiation, let me just get rid of that there. To talk about differentiation, but also as we're building universally designed learning activities, we can use Diffit to really make sure that we are inclusive of all of our students. We also have the ability from here, if I go ahead and get into my resources, let me go down to the bottom. We would have the ability to search. So if we wanted to look for a particular type, we could do that. Let's just say choice and we'll see what we get. So we have a vocabulary choice board and a poetry choice board. All of this is pre-done and ready for us to use. So that is Diffit. We've talked about Perplexity and we've talked about Diffit. I highly recommend that you take a deeper look into Diffit and all of the options in this particular very powerful tool. The last one that I want to share with you is called Magic School, and I'm sure that you've probably heard rumblings of Magic School. I think it's a very powerful resource to use in schools, both for UDL and differentiation. And so I'm going to actually pull this up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to Magic School. I see that it's already predicting what I want to show you. So I want to show it to you from the beginning. And so from here, as you come into Magic School and you log in, you are brought into all of the tools that they have available for you to use with kids and in your classroom. And you can see there's text proofreading, there's depth of knowledge questions, there's video summarizing. This is in Magic School's Teacher. Here's the one that I want to show you. This is the choice board generator. This is what it looks like. Now, I have one pre-done already, so I just want to show this one to you. This is, let me go back to this. Here we go. What I did was I put in the same grade level that we used before. I used one of my social studies standards. And then I said that I wanted a choice board for all different modalities for students. And this is what I got. It will design the whole choice board for you. Now think about from here, you could also build support rubrics if you needed to do that. You also can edit the prompt and go back if you need to do that. So I put in my ancient Greece. And let's just see, let's change the topic. Let's put in ancient Egypt. And we'll see what we get for that one. I'm going to bump this up to 7th grade. And we'll hit generate here. So we'll regenerate using ancient Egypt as the topic. Choice boards are a fantastic way to universally design opportunities in your classroom for all students. Remember, we're starting at the beginning of designing the learning experience. Now, if you're looking to adjust the learning experience, once you've gotten into your topic and now you're looking for differentiation or you're looking for additional lesson planning or rubric generating, you can do that in Magic School as well. Magic School has a ton of built-in already generative AI support tools for educators. It is a powerful, powerful classroom assistant and classroom thought partner, really. And so I highly recommend that you take a look at that. But in the eyes of using UDL and designing our learning opportunities from the very start, Magic School, developing the choice boards, having the rubric creation tool, really starting the learning process with Magic School is a way to universally design your activities. All right. So from here, we have talked about Perplexity as a way to universally design activities, and then as we're working through, to adjust activities if we need to. We have talked about Diffit as a way, let me just go in there. There we go. We have talked about Diffit as a way to universally design activities and then also to adjust content as we need to do that. And then the last part of that is Magic School. And we have so many options here for assistance as we're developing classroom content. And as you can see, there's more and more new activity and support listed here. One thing I did forget to mention is Magic School also has a chat bot specifically made for educators. So now I could say use UDL to design a unit around, I'm going to stick with my ancient Greece. And then from here, I can start to have this conversation and say, oh, I meant 6th grade. Oh, I meant 8th grade. Okay, now redesign this and using different assessments. And you can see what it did is it talked about learning objectives and ways that we could really use the framework with multiple means of representation, multiple means of engagement, and multiple means of expression. To go back to the cast image that we looked at before. So that is Magic School, the chatbot, and also the tools that they have pre-built in. And just as an aside, we do have Magic Student, and that is Magic School's sort of, for lack of a better term, walled garden of AI use for students. And you can actually assign different parts of Magic School specifically to students. Take a look at this if you're interested in starting down the path of using AI with students. It is a fantastic, supportive entrance for most of our students. Okay, so let's come on back. And now we've had Magic School. We have gone through Diffit. We have gone through Perplexity, all in the idea of providing multiple means of engagement, multiple means of representation, and multiple means of action and expression through the UDL framework. So what I would like you to do really quickly is just think for a minute, pause the video if you want, or let it run for a little bit. Just think about what is something that either you did this past school year or something coming up for your next school year. One thing that you can change that will more universally design or make your learning experiences more universally designed for our students. This is how we begin to walk the path of UDL. We go step by step and we think about, I did this, I could universally design it by making this change. So I'd like you to think about that. Pause here or think about it at the end of the video. Because as we start to get further and further into the world of AI, we're going to have more and more opportunities to do this. So with that, I would love to thank you for looking through the summer learning series. I want to encourage you to take a look at the Shake Up Learning All Access Pass. Shake Up Learning is a fantastic resource. Please make sure that you continue your learning through the summer. Also make sure that you take time out. Thank you very much. I appreciate you watching this video, and please reach out if there's anything I can do to assist you.